Patrick Mahomes is on the cover of Time magazine. And in this, it's a really good interview, so you guys should go read it. The Q&A there is awesome. You get to learn a lot about Patrick Mahomes that, we pretty much know a lot about Patrick Mahomes, but you get to know a little bit behind the guy, Patrick Mahomes in this article. But in this interview, he talks about being the GOAT. And he talks about how he's nowhere near GOAT status, which, depending on how you look at it, and, I think most of us will say he's the GOAT already, but it's good. It shows how his drive and his yearning to be the best. So he talks about in the article, quote, "You have to build a consistency of a career. You see that in any sport. I've had a great run. I think I've done a great job so far, but it's hard to take away from what Tom did for so long, what Peyton Manning did, or Aaron Rodgers. I don't really, not Aaron Rodgers. There are so many guys. They were such at a high level for such a long time. In order to be in that conversation, you have to do that on a year-to-year basis. You can't take it for granted that you did it the year before," which I thought was awesome to hear, because, this guy is one of the most, what he's done already is a short amount of his career is second to none. Well, maybe Tom Brady. But as far as the other guys he named, Manning didn't win his first one for a while. Aaron Rodgers only won one, so I think he's already surpassed Aaron Rodgers. I think it's a respect thing for him saying that. But JD, are you in agreement? Is Pat the go? Yeah, we had this conversation, I think, when we first started the show about three or 4 years ago. Is he trending in the GOAT direction? Honestly, but two rings later since that first initial GOAT conversation we had on this show, where do you stand on that now?
No, look, Patrick's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and so he is still building on his legacy. He's not the GOAT right now. We understand that it's still held by Tom Brady, and rightfully so. The other guys, I think, he pays homage to. Okay, like a Peyton Manning. He understands the intricacies he brings to the table as far as quarterbacks, and so I don't think he wants to dispute any of those things, right? Because he feels a little bit of nostalgia, right? Aaron Rodgers, like you said, it's a GOAT. Yeah, it's the goofiest old. I don't know what you say. What else? This dude, man. Yeah. Rodgers, look, and here's the thing. Patrick is so modest, so humble, that if he had any other thing besides that, I would be shocked. I would be surprised. And so I think this is an indication of greatness. I think Patrick understands how good he is. He understands how good he is. He strives to be the best, to become the best. And even if he was, he would probably still say, "Hey, you know what, guys? Golly shucks. I'm just a good player, and I appreciate it to be considered in the same breath as these guys." I don't think any of the quarterbacks, most of them that I know, walk on their toes when they come into a building. Okay, and they come into a restaurant and come into a home. Wherever you see a quarterback, you'll see his joker walk on his toes, because they the big cock of the town. That's why they come in, right? Rooster. And so that's and the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to be able to back it up. Patrick Mahomes has the hardware. He has the body of work to absolutely show that he's legit. So that's my thing about it. That's where I'm at with it. Pat is just a great guy, great character. Now, like I said before, he knows exactly how good he is. He knows that. But he's not going to let that arrogance take him somewhere else. I think it's what ended up happening with Aaron Rodgers. And all of a sudden he had to have this and all of that, and now he's the smartest guy in the world, right? He got everything figured out with all these conspiracy theories and whatnot, and he's
a doctor now.
Yeah, so not that he can't learn on certain things, but I it's just from where he's shifted past few years, it's like, okay, like nobody can tell him anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also true what you were saying about the nostalgia aspect. Like, these are the guys you grew up watching: Brady, Manning, Rodgers. It's like, I'm sure, the guys of your generation, you would say Joe Montana is up there, and obviously, it's funny. He didn't. Pat, it just shows how young he is. He didn't mention, Montana, right? He's mentioning Brady, Manning, the guys he grew up watching. It's like, the Jordan LeBron debate. All the guys say, they grew up watching Jordan. That's their GOAT. That's their GOAT. Yep. People nowadays say LeBron. So it's interesting in that respect. His list, you wouldn't have that as your what is your top three QBs of all time?
Excluding Pat, my top three would probably be Tom, Peyton, and probably Joe. That'd be my three. So,
and Peyton, obviously, the hardware wise, he doesn't really have the hardware as far as rings wise. But you got to see him play live and in person. And was that one thing that take you when you watched him play in person? Was like, damn, like this guy is legit.
Yeah, he and maybe where some of his deficiencies were, you couldn't really see him because he was so good at hiding them, how he would manipulate what he needed to do, get the ball there, knowing what guys was going to be in certain spots, just on the same page, and the way he was able to communicate to everybody what he was doing. So that's why I like Peyton a lot. You know, like I said, just watching and playing against him. There's a lot of great quarterbacks out there. But I think because of the three and what they brought to that position is my three guys. So.
Yeah. And you also got to play Brady up and close and in person too. Was that because I mean Tom in the early part of his career, like before they kind of changed up the offense when the team wasn't defensive oriented, he was kind of like they used to say he was a system quarterback, and then once like they kind of expanded the offensive side of things, then it was like, oh, then we saw a different side of Brady. In your early years of Brady, were you wowed by him at all? Because that was something that no,
not at all. To be honest with you, I don't even know when it just wow, except his guy just kept winning.
Yeah,
just kept winning. So you can't take anything away from a guy, man, who's just winning, who has the hunger to be a champion, you know, to be great. And so you see what drove him was that chip on his shoulder of feeling like he wasn't good enough, right? And still trying to get there with it. So a lot of respect for Tom, what he's been able to accomplish, but I don't think anybody can take away from his accomplishments at all. And I think a lot of it goes to like championships. Because I know, like John is saying, Roger Staubach, Dan Marino, Pat Mahomes. Dan has a lot of talent on it. Doesn't have no hardware at all to show for any of it. Has some great wide receivers around him. Good running back. No rings. So it's always a conversation. My nephew, he loves Dan Marino. He's a big Dan Marino guy. We know Dan had a huge arm. That's the thing about it. The other intangibles and stuff to win, to put guys together, put them in the same position where they need to win and go back. I think that's when you start certain guys excel, right? And so I think it's what Tom was able to do. He had a good defense around him. That's how this. So it's like Terry Bradshaw. You know, I watched a little bit of Bradshaw. Terry, because he, you know, the defense that the steel curtain was known. So that I think that's with Terry that he was able to, you know, to get a lot of his legacy based off of the team in itself. Not saying that Tom, because Tom had some good defenses around him to win championships too.
Oh yeah,
right. We're gonna be truthful on it, and Tom will tell you the same thing. So when he didn't have top defenses, you know, he struggled. But when them jokers was humming defensively, they were humming. Yeah. And so that took QB, the defenses, and the head coach. Put all that stuff together. When you have that, when you have a good mix, that's what ends up happening. Same thing when you look at San Fran with Joe Montana, at least for me, you know, here you got Bill Walsh and those guys, and then you got Joe Montana, good receivers, good defense. You had good running back, tight end. I mean, you know, you have to have a good mix to win. I would say the same thing with the Chiefs. When the Chiefs were sitting over here, you got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, good receiver, tight end, got a pretty good defense, you know, that's holding up, good defensive coordinator, and these guys just win together. These guys win together. So that's why I look at sometimes talent, all those different things. John Elway was an absolute beast out there on the field. Could throw the football. Heck of an athlete.
But even them, you know, because Amda talks about Spygate with Brady. Even the Broncos, which is not talked about that much, is the whole scandal they had late 90s where they were paying dudes under the table and stuff, which doesn't get talked about nearly enough, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I mean, I mean, paying guys under the table, man, is, I mean, shoot. I mean, what is that scandalous don't take away from accomplishment.
True.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't take away from the accomplishment, right? So you get guys incentive, or you throw, a little change or something a guy's way, hey, pat on the back, hey,
Well, I mean, was that, I mean, you don't have to say this at all or anything, but like, was that a thing? Like they just got caught? Was that something that a lot of teams were doing that may not know? Operating outside the salary cap?
No. If there was something that, let's just say that you had, I wouldn't say a bet on, but guys wanted to accomplish, right? Different incentives. And guys had put money in the pot, like to get something, right? Then it's a little extra change. A little extra change that you can have. So it's good little money. But these little challenges, that's all it is, little challenges amongst teammates.
Right.
Right. So I don't think an organization, now they're going to count every little dollar they give you, believe me. So that's why you seen them suckers when if guys didn't make their incentive and didn't get the bonus. So
we left Chris Jones there at the very end of that game to get that sack for that bonus.
Yeah, put him in. He's like, look, I ain't coming out. I don't care what you do, Andy. I'm not coming out. Andy's like, all right, you got one more chance. Chris would not came out of that game if he didn't get that. Not at all. He was gonna make it happen for sure. So that's for me.
Yeah. I still thought it was kind of odd for him to do that because like he knew he was going to get paid in the offseason. Why risk the extra? What was a $1 million bonus? Yeah, $1 million is a lot of money, but why risk it when you know you're going to get paid that money at the end of the season? But hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.